Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Quick Reviews. As you may have noticed, I haven't done a lot of videos lately. Just quite busy. So if you've watched my last Comics and Beyond episode, or I think two episodes uh, uh, behind, uh, uh, I said that whenever I couldn't do a poll video, I would actually show my books on Comics and Beyond, and then do the quick reviews video. Uh, but after I did the pool tag video, I realized that maybe it's just getting a little too redundant showing the books two or three times. So instead of not doing the weekly pool videos, because apparently at this point in time it's just been impossible for me to do the weekly hauls, um, for whatever reasons that come my way, circumstances. I just decided to do the weekly haul video, the pool videos, and just put it under the comment quick reviews, because that's basically what I do. So if this were just a full video, I would be showing my books, but I do the reviews anyways. So also that kind of liberates me a bit more to not stick with the weekly schedule, because as I said, I haven't been able to do that for the past few weeks, in fact. Same thing will go with the Comics and Beyond. I'll do it whenever I have time to do them, because the past few weekends, I've found myself, kind of busy. You know, some birthdays were celebrated in January, so I went with the family, spent some time with them. Celebrate my dad's birthday, my brother's birthday, an aunt's birthday. So time has really been quite a constraint for me. So uh, from now on, I'll be doing quick reviews whenever I have time. So I'll try to keep them on a weekly basis, before the new books show up. If for whatever reason I don't do one weekly, and I have like 2 weeks worth of books like now, I'll do the whole thing. Uh, I'll do the whole the reviews for both weeks. Uh, so with that being said, I have another quick announcement. Next, in April, and I mentioned this before, it would be my first anniversary as part of the comic book community on YouTube. Almost a year ago, I posted my first video. So I will be doing something special, a contest actually. So I'll formally announce it, late March, and that will run throughout the entire month of April. I have an idea of what I'm going to do for a contest. In fact, I have 2 months to do some shopping for some prizes. I will be giving some stuff from my collection, but I want to add some extra things. Uh, and so this coming weekend, my shop will have their anniversary sale, um, and I'll get some prices there. In March, there's the first of 3 conventions that will be happening this year, so I plan to go to that one in particular, because Brian Azzarello is set to be a guest. So I want to get some of my Wonder Woman issues signed by him. Margaret's coming, so I might take an advantage of that and go to the dealers and get uh, more more books and gifts and prizes to get. So depending on that, on how many prizes I can get to add to what I'm planning on giving away as prizes, will determine the amount of winners that there will be. So, but don't hurry it up. That's until 2 months from now. But be forewarned. Once I officially announce the contest, anybody who subs me after that will not be eligible. So it's gonna be before April that or before the video announcing the contest comes out. Uh, that um, you can sub to me and be part. After that, as always, same old rules, 18 and older. But that's a long way. Right now, let's go to the books. So, first up, I'll be showing the books from the last week of January, which is a really nice big stack here. Um, so first, we have Superman number 27, which is the last part, the second part of the Parasite story, and it's also the conclusion of the Lois Lane story that's been going on. With Lois in a coma. This storyline started way back in Superman annual number 2, so it ends here. It was a good issue. I enjoyed it. Some interesting things happening here in the in the book. First off, with Clark revealing that General Lane is running for the Senate, and that being leaked by Clark before anything official came out, uh, has got the attention of of people, and apparently Morgan Edge wants to buy the blog for $30 million. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm wondering what Kat is going to do, because she enjoyed the fact that she is not accountable to anyone but herself and Clark, and she enjoys that freedom. So that's an interesting thing that's going on. The other thing is a subplot that started last issue with General Lane, um, running for the Senate, but as well as something called the Tower. So he's stuck. So there's scene here where he's talking to some mysterious shadowed person. So that's very interesting. Then we have Aquaman number 27, Jeff Parker's second issue, and the second, probably the second part of the current arc, which um, you know features this sort of kraken creature. Um, this book is mostly action, but there are some interesting things. A group of scientists were the ones who woke up the kraken, and Aquaman's friend or former ally, Dr. Shin, is working with these people now. And even though Aquaman finally defeated this kraken, apparently the scientists were able to get a piece of his brain, which is still active, and Aquaman can sense it. He also learned, Aquaman, using his telepathy, that this creature serves the kings of Atlantis, but wasn't paying much attention to Aquaman. So That's very interesting as well. Flash 27. The final arc for that will close the Bushalato Manapul run. Uh, I didn't find it particularly special as a closing arc. A lot of detective, more of a detective story, and yeah, he's investigating, some mysterious bodies that were found that were similar to um, serial killer, but apparently these bodies were buried after the serial killer was convicted. So Flash goes in to investigate. Probably thinks once again he returns back to his dad, and he's believed that he is innocent of his mother's murder, and thinks that this mysterious killer might be the guy. Though I do believe it has some supernatural elements to it, because this issue actually opens up, with this scene that takes place in the 1800s. As you can see, there's a scythe or scythe, whatever, and this man, I think he's what, like the marshal, you know, kills his partner, just the same way that all of these other victims were killed, and then um, this sort of you know guy shows up, you know, so obviously this might be the ghost, I guess, of this marshal. There's gotta be a connection to the opening scenes, right? So that's my theory. So it does have some sort of supernatural element to it as well. Sorry. So next issue is Teen Titans number 27. Continuing with the trial of Kid Flash. Again, I enjoy the Teen Titans for what it is. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's very clear that you know this type being cancelled and everything. There are good indications of why it's ending, because it seems that Kid Flash's nature returned to him, so he goes all crazy. You have some really good moments between forgot her name, Tyrion, but I forgot her name. Solstice, between Solstice and Red Robin, Red Robin. Um, but I mean, look, it's all, you know, looks all innocent and then goes all psycho and everything. So yeah, it's the Teen Titans. What else can I say? Um, but it's definitely clear that by the time this book is over, there won't be much of a Titans team left, anyways. Finally, the last new issue I got from the last week of January is All-Star Western number 27. And I have to agree with Art Dowdy, this is like the best cover of that week. I mean, Superman all floating ahead, mad, his eyes are red. And while a lot of people don't like, these sort of images, like it's becoming very, very common for super characters to just have this very menacing look. I mean, I'd be pissed off too if Jonah had just, shot me several times. So anyway, so Superman is in this issue uh, for like the first half of the book, and the rest of it, um, you know. So anyways, Superman's in this issue, and those, I, you know, that the part that I have enjoyed of this storyline is, how the conversations that Hex has with people from the 21st century, because it's so different from his time. And to Hex, Superman is some real weird type of guy, something that's not natural to him. And in fact, to him our world is not natural because it's completely different. And uh, Palmieri and Gray are taking this opportunity with Hex to comment on most of our social problems that we have today. Hex comments on this commentary on, the air feeling smelling foul, the food tasting funny because we don't know where it comes from nowadays. It's all industrialized, and he doesn't feel comfortable with what that tastes different. With food, he doesn't know where it came from. So, it's a great way to do the commentary on all of these things in our modern life. From a, and it doesn't sound preachy because it comes from a guy who lived a completely different life and different times. And, so that's the part that I've been enjoying the most. The rest of the issue, Gina, that girl that's been with Hex since, for a while now, takes him to this sort of Western museum, and the visuals are, I mean, this, this is probably one of the best parts of this book because it does a little reference to Hex, old Hex stories. Um, First, we have this really great image here where you have these sort of 10-cent novels, and you're like, wow, West by Palmieri and Gray. It's funny. Uh, but, there's reference um, to a whole bunch of stuff, but particularly interesting is the stuff Jonah Hex, which does reference to what was for a time the ultimate fate of Hex, and being killed and then getting stuff and going around in a circus. There's also reference to famed artist uh, artist. Oh, the Zoniga. The artist that co-created Jonah Hex. The Zuniga. I forgot his first name. Recently passed away. Tony De Zuniga, I think it's his name. Uh, so, as always, for me, Hex is one of the top books in my pool. Really great issue. I mean, it's fun. You know, I definitely love the references to those little, like, especially the stuff Jonah Hex, the ultimate fate, and apparently does seem to be someone portraying Jonah Hex as the um, upcoming solicitation says. So this is interesting and great. Uh, and I picked up one back issue. The and one back issue that I picked up, which is Ghost Volume 2, number 4. And so that ends with the book that I picked up. on the last week of January. So last week, um, let's go on with last week. First up, as always, the Superman books always go first. Action Comics number 28, which is, I mean, the cover is fantastic. I really, really love this cover. Uh, this continues with with Superman and Lana Lang's little adventure in this underground world. Um, and thinking about this story, it kind of felt a little bit golden agey to me. You know, there aren't many stories that talk about underground civilization or anything. So it really did feel a bit like something, that would appear in the golden age. Um, but before we get to that, so what happens in this issue? So uh, last issue, they enter the underground, this cavern. They discovered that there was someone living there. The civilization that lives underground, a matriarchal society, uh, comes into contact with Superman and Lana. But they talk to Lana. They actually discover that there's some orbs that have energy, but it's different type of energy, and of course Lana is curious about it. So anyways, they come in contact with this civilization. They come in contact with some like lemur-like creatures, and they're invited to the city, but everything kind of goes to hell because these people are taking these little creatures and siphoning their life energies to sort of, I don't know what, do what, sort of like get energy or something. So Superman tries to intervene, but the ghost soldier, uh, who showed up, the ghost soldier, which is which is this guy here, um, you know, intervenes because he's been following them. He intervenes, takes off his visor to avoid the fight between Superman and these creatures. He introduces himself, whatever, blah blah blah. So they end up fighting these underground people, and and apparently they escape. The civilization, being destroyed. Apparently, they were powering sort of like giant rock robots or something like that. And they want to avoid that, so they come back to the surface. And 1 minute the Ghost Soldier is helping Superman, then next he stabs them, and these little creatures, actually turn out to transform into these sort of wild monsters. So we have Superman is down, and these little creatures now becoming these huge monsters are in fact ready to attack the Ghost Soldier. So that's very cool. So it's a fun issue. Um, and like I said, it reminded me of something that might occur in the Golden Age. And I'm back in Superman number 13, actually, way back in 1941. There is this story, where this story where Superman goes into and discovers is underground civilization. And one of the funny things is, the villain in this story is called Kiak. Kiak. Okay, Kiak or something like that. Kayak or something like that. Kiak, Kayak. And the underground queen's name is very similar in name, but it's Kokia. So even the names are kind of similar. So I'm wondering if Pac didn't take a little bit of inspiration from this old golden age story. Okay. So yeah, action comics, kicking ass, kicking butt. Fun issue. Another fun issue was the Green Lantern, Red, Green, Green Lantern, Red Lantern number 28, which sort of starts with the Red Daughter of Krypton story arc that will be running between Red Lantern and Supergirl, mostly Supergirl. These two issues, take place before Supergirl number 28, where she'll be transformed into a Red Lantern. Um, but the Supergirl story as Red Daughter, I believe issue 28 will still have will continue with the Lobo story, and during this story that she'll get the ring, and the Red Daughter will go for 3 issues, particularly between issues 29 and 31, because Solicitations had that story, issue 30, as part 2 of 3. So 29 would be like a prologue to that story, and this actually came takes place after. So what can I say about these 2 issues? They were fun, particularly because Hal Jordan. If you recall last issue of Green Lantern, the Durlans, start a plot to uh, discredit the Green Lantern Corps. So while various Green Lanterns have been taken down throughout the universe, Hal has to deal with that, uh, and he has to deal with Guy Gardner, because he actually promised to give the Red Lanterns as the faction that's following Guy a sector. So he has to deal with that as well. And then two Green Lanterns come in contact with Red Lantern Supergirl, who they were able to. Well, they weren't able to defeat. It's just that Supergirl tired herself out. But these lanterns bring her to Mogo, now the headquarters of the Green Lantern Corps, and so he has to deal with that. What is curious though is where did Supergirl get the ring? Of course, Hal doesn't know who she is, and once the ring tells Hal that she's a Kryptonian, he's very surprised, because the only Kryptonian he knows is Superman. Now, I was reading a review of the Red Lantern issue, of the Green Lantern Red Lantern issue, where the reviewer said, "Well, why does it pointing out that the problem with Supergirl as a title is that the character has been isolated," which is not true, because for it makes sense that Hal doesn't know who Supergirl is, because he's been out in space for a very long time. He hasn't come back to Earth except like for really early on in the Green Lantern run, the New 52 Green Lantern. And the Justice League stories don't really seem to jive with continuity anywhere, by the way. It's very weird. Uh, so they're surprised by it. And so he goes to Earth, to oh, Yzmolt, to look for Guy and ask Guy if he knows what's going on, with this with Supergirl. They don't know that they're surprised as well. Guy's surprised as well once they meet up, because he isn't sending out any rings, but Atrocitus is the one that's actually still around. Uh, he's the one that's been sending out rings to recruit new Red Lanterns, I guess, to face off against Guy. So they find that out. So that becomes, Guy's problem now. As for the other problem that Hal is facing is, what sector to give Guy Gardner. Apparently, Guy Gardner has already proclaimed Sector 2814 as his own. At first, Hal is very reluctant to do it, but he agrees, and he just tells them, take care of, do a good job, because I have people down there. Take care of them. So that's pretty much how the issue ends. One other little problem that we're gonna have to deal with is Superman, because once Superman finds out, his cousin's a Red Lantern, the guy that's more worried about it is Guy Gardner, worried about what Superman's going to say. Once they discover that she might be related to Superman. But it was a very fun issue, so yeah. Then another one of my top books, Green Arrow, with this is part 3 of the Outsiders War. This one is a shocker, folks, because if you recall, last issue we learned that Robert Quinn is alive, and in this issue we actually learn that everything that Oliver went through in the island was all orchestrated by his father, preparing him, for the eventual battle between the clans. So emotions run high, especially with Ollie, because he really feels betrayed by his dad. He pretended to die. This little quest of his, cost him his family. He pretty much abandoned his family. So Oliver is not very happy with it. Of course, there's not much time to deal with that, as one of the clans decides to attack them. So things keep moving with Tire Wars. Kodiak takes down the head of the Outsiders and takes his play and takes over from him. And the little subplot that started out a few issues ago with the whole underworld in Seattle going to war, provoked by Richard Dragon, is starting to boil up a little bit, and so Deagle shows up where Naomi and what's this kid's name? Oh, you know, oh, oh, I forgot this kid's name. This other kid that took over in tech, this kid, he shows up. Uh, so John Deagle shows up and asks where, Green Arrow is. They said, well, Green Arrow isn't here right now. So he actually pretty much Deagle recruits them to start hunting down Richard Dragon. And, so this plot that started, issues ago, it's finally getting to move up, to to move and build, for I guess the next arc. And as always, Andrea Sorrentino is doing a magnificent job in the art. Uh, Probably the standout stuff. There are pages like this. Pretty much, uh, you know, taking things, to another level. Uh, but this is probably my favorite, sequence here, because what we got here, is, the sound effects of the battle. All the sound effects are made into panels as well. Uh, so this is extraordinary work, because only you could only do this in a comic where you get, all these sound effects and make them part of the art, not just, your typical, thing. Sort of like overimposing in the art. They become the art. Where this is an extra. I love the way, the effects are integrated and become part of the art, and not just an addition to the art. So, Tarantino and Lemire, they're really kicking ass in this book. I can't stop recommending this book to be read, by everyone. Finally, Forever Evil, number 5. So 2 more issues to go before this crossover concludes, and I gotta say, this is, I don't know, for an event, it, it just doesn't feel big enough. It's been very slow. Uh, in fact, even the main story here has moved slowly. Uh, I think the best part in this issue is Sinestro when he takes down Powering. Once again, Jeff Johns proves that Sinestro is a badass. It's pretty disturbing. In fact, look at this. But it's very disturbing because when he's, taking down Power Ring, you you build up to death. He's cracking his hand, and come on, this is Sinestro going way too far. Cut off his arm, and then uh, he blows him up. He disintegrates the Power Ring. I mean, that is a very pissed off Sinestro. And once again, Joe Jones proves that Sinestro could be a really, really badass villain. But besides that, the secret society are fighting Luthor and his little group of villains, along with Batman and Catwoman. Uh, and all they get, they defeat the group that the secret society sent, and they add Deathstroke to the group. Uh, and apparently, we end with a cliffhanger of whatever destroyed the Earth 3 is finally making its way through, and whatever that is, once the Power Ring died, his dream went to look for another host, and apparently that sort of caused this rip in the multiverse and allowed this whatever threat destroyed Earth 3 to show up on Earth Prime, Earth 1, or whatever number of Earth, the 50, I mean DCU. But we won't really see anything happening until issue 6. So I don't know. Even the Times don't really add much to the story as others. So I like Jeff Johns as a writer. He did some really good events. This is this is a sign that Jeff Johns has a lot on his plate right now. Because it's not that great of an event. This isn't Flashpoint. This isn't Sinestro Corps. This isn't Blackest Night. This is nah. So I'm a little concerned now that Jeff Johns will be taking over Superman with John Romita Jr. in the late summer, later this year, because I've got a feeling that if he doesn't shape up, it's gonna be a bad run, at least for me, because Jeff Johns seems to be in his own doing his own little thing, and he isn't very hip on continuity. He doesn't really know what's going on in the entire New 52 DCU, and there are lots of examples of that. The most recent one was, in Forever Evil, where he had the Teen Titans in San Francisco, and they're actually in New York. So he's more or less writing that Titans he wrote long ago, a few years ago, almost 10 years ago, I believe. So it's not the same universe, but he's been writing as if it were, the old Britney 52 DCU. That's why, I'm very annoyed with the way he writes Luthor, because he's writing the Luthor he wrote, when he was doing, Action Comics, when he did Secret Origin. So yeah, so if he doesn't really, concentrate, he should focus more on his other, job at, DC Entertainment, and give up writing, because he's not the same guy. He's not since, I guess he's not firing in all cylinders. So let's hope once Forever Evil ends, he can refocus on the two books he's writing. He'll be writing. He'll be writing. Continue with Justice League, and then he'll be doing Superman. And I think that should be enough for him, because he does have a lot on his plate. Anyways, as always, I'll be putting up a few reviews. I realize that I can't put up reviews of every book on the blog, so I'll review a few of the books from the past 2 weeks. I'll select which books I wanna talk more about. But look up for the reviews. The link will be below to the blog. Um, what else? So check that out. Check out the other stuff I've posted before. I'm actually highlighting. I'll be highlighting, or I've highlighted. I posted it years ago about my thoughts on the new 52 when it was brand new. I've been highlighting that post. Um, but yeah, just check everything out. Read the stories that I've written. Tell me what you think about them. Always leave a comment below. I'll usually answer back rather quickly. Um, so I guess that's it for this week. Um, and maybe later this weekend, I hope I will show the back issues that I bought. I probably bring a few back issues, a few trades from my shop's anniversary sale. They've been doing that for quite a while. Get really good prices on some back issues. I think last year it was like 50% off in back issues. Trade they were around 30-40%. So this year I'm hoping to get quite a few more trades or quite a few more interesting back issues. So yeah, anyways, that's it for today. So until next time, keep smiling.